Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review Die Cheerleader Die. The only good cheerleader is a dead one.
Written and directed by Jerry Peterson and starring a bunch of people that refuse to have their names put on IMDb, Die Cheerleader Die is about a bunch of college students who are cheerleaders and football players who are caught up in a string of murders. The killer is out for cheerleader blood. We stumbled upon this movie on our friends Kings of Horror's YouTube channel. They get a bunch of low-budget indie horror movies and put it on their channel legally because they buy the rights and stuff, so we thought we'd just check it out, and this gem was on there. So what do we like?
I liked the characters in this film. We had a very colorful cast of interesting stereotypes. Most importantly would be the news reporter, Bobby.
Anything newsworthy happening here?
He was the best character on screen, not because of who he was, but you couldn't help and laugh at how brutal he delivered his lines.
Basically, the acting in this movie is atrocious, but it's hilariously atrocious. It's not only the acting, but the writing. Like, every line that people said was just almost unnecessary. There were ridiculous conversations that just didn't need to exist whatsoever, and people were just so goddamn awkward. You're gonna be cringing at the whole movie. It's just fucking terrible, but it's a fun watch. I liked the attempt. Like, I liked that they went out and made a movie. There were practical effects. They weren't good. The kills were just terrible as well. But they went and they did try and do some practical effects. They showed us a bunch of boobs, which was cool. They probably didn't need to do that, but, you know, it's a cheerleader movie, so bring it on.
I will commend them in their storytelling because they did throw a lot of red herrings at us. Throughout the movie, you're gonna find yourself guessing who it is, and then when you think it's someone else, they're gonna just throw it in your face, and you're like, damn it, they mentioned them. So it's clearly not them. So then you have to re-guess who it is. And that's kind of fun when you're watching it with your friends.
Now, what didn't we like? I'd like to start with the continuity issues. I mean, this movie is riddled with them. And I think, like, the most glaring one and the most weird one was they had two characters that they kept interchanging. So you'd have like three girls get into a car, and in the next shot, the three girls get out, but one of those girls is a different girl wearing the same clothes. And they'll just be like,
"Thanks for picking me up after you dropped off Natalie."
Natalie and Lily, who both wore the green army coat, could never be in the same scene together. And they just kept throwing it out there being like, oh, well, I wasn't there, but Natalie was there with you guys. Or we went to Natalie's house, but I wasn't there. My personal favorite was the bong store owner, where we had him with his long hair and beard. And then in the next scene, like, Bobby walks in to interview him.
So, am I missing something, or did you get a haircut?
I sure did. I cut off my beard, too.
Throughout the whole movie, there's tons of flaws. The filmmaking in general, like the cinematography, was okay, but there are tons and tons of issues. An issue that I had was because they were working with only like a couple locations, it kind of just went back and forth between a picnic table, a classroom, and what I can only imagine was like a library study hall, and the sheriff's office. And it just kind of like keeps going back between these things. If you were in any of these locations, it was the exact same shots every single time because they obviously couldn't show certain things in the background, or they're in the corner of somebody's basement so they can't show more. So it's really weird when you're having conversations because they're almost all long takes because they're not switching camera angles a lot of the time. So you just have people just rattling off lines, fucking them up, and just like, let it roll and don't edit and don't cut because you got one shot. They didn't redo any of their lines, and you can hear them fuck up in the middle of their lines and restart the line and continue. It's ridiculous.
You were in the vicinity of both murders, and whoever killed Mike had to have enough weight behind them to kill Mike, to choke him to death.
They definitely did not sync their ADR. All the audio that was recorded afterwards did not match to the lips at all with any of the characters, but it was most noticeable with Bobby because he couldn't deliver his lines, so it just looked really bad. Another funny thing about this film was the establishing shots. They constantly just did a slow zoom.
I don't know what else we can say about this movie, to be honest. Like, it is terrible, but like terrible in a really fun way. I mean, it is boring at parts, but I mean, it's an indie horror movie. If you like the worst of the worst, then you might enjoy this. Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. Die Cheerleader Die was a terrible movie from beginning to end, from the filmmaking to the writing to the delivery of lines to the editing, because they chose not to edit most things. It's just riddled with issues. But it's a really fun time, and I think you'd enjoy it if you are into super, super low budget, like $50 movies. I don't know what the actual budget is. I hope it wasn't more than like $1,000. You definitely need some adult beverages if you're gonna be watching this movie and you want to enjoy yourself. So I'm gonna give this 1 fake out meet and greets out of 5.
Die Cheerleader Die is definitely the pinnacle of it's so bad, it's good. You really need to just go out and watch this movie with your friends and just make fun of it. If you like a good time to guess who the killer's gonna be, this movie will have you guessing from beginning to end. You just gotta look past the poor production quality and the continuity errors and the terrible acting, but that's what makes the movie fun. Just don't hate on it so much for its poor quality, because they did the best they probably could. And with that being said, I'm gonna give this 1 shaggy bong out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video, and if for some reason you've seen this, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't seen it, like we've mentioned, you can check it out on Kings of Horror. So check out that little card thing that pops up, and we'll have more links in the description where you can buy it. I think it's on Amazon for free as well. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay updated with our reactions, reviews, and games of What Would You Do.